Hi, Joan. Thank you so much for your time. Since we're calling you from Portugal to the States, thank you so much. We have different time zones, so we're very thankful for you to have had time for us.
No
So this
problem. My pleasure.
the subject that brings me here today is actually something that happened to me after my wedding, and I thought I was going crazy or that I had some kind of a problem, but then after researching for it, I found out that post-wedding blues are actually something that it's very common amongst women, especially.
Yeah, well, typically the women are the ones doing all the planning. So oftentimes they're the ones that have this big excitement of meeting with vendors and deciding over daisies and dahlias. And then all of a sudden they come to a screeching halt after the wedding is over and there's nothing for them to do and they're panic stricken.
Hmm.
It's actually very common for people who are newlyweds, males and females, actually brides and grooms, or grooms and brides, to have some sort of transitional kind of sadness, confusion, difficulty, whatever. But about 5 to 10% of people actually do have signs of depression after their weddings.
So, what should we do when we're in that position? And what about the people who surround us, for example? How should they also deal with us? Because sometimes people are just like, get over with it, right? Because it's done, it's gone. Why are you sad? It was an amazing day. That's what my mom used to tell me. It was an amazing day. Why are you sad? So,
Well, and again, that's a very common theme is that the people who are experiencing it actually feel embarrassed about talking about it because they feel like they don't have the right to be sad about something that was so wonderful. And it's similar to, although, lesser in severity, to people who have postpartum depression or baby blues, that there's this wonderful baby, they have this great thing, and people are sad. They're having a hard time. And not necessarily the ones who have a very severe form of it, but the people who are kind of just going, "Oh my gosh, what did I do?" Or "Now what?" That is, pretty common. And in regards to what people around you can do, is to try to understand that there is such a thing and try to explain to people. It's kind of like post Christmas blues. Do you remember post Christmas blues? You're a little kid, you
yeah.
open up all your presents, you're looking forward to getting your favorite gift, and it comes, and then there's nothing for 364 days anymore. So you're like, it's over in like 5 minutes, and now you're like, nothing to look forward to. So hopefully people will, can kind of explain it that way to their family. I mean, it's very typical in marriages that one spouse has, one belief about the experience, like, oh, this is the start of something wonderful. And the other person is like, well, that was the end of a great thing, right? So it's really important to know that both experiences are normal, and to kind of lean on each other and try to change your perspective a little bit and see it, from how wonderful, why you decided to get married in the first place, and how wonderful it is, and leaning on your spouse to try to cope and
Hmm.
actually fulfill your vows.
Yeah. So, um, recognizing that you're feeling that you're having post-wedding blues is actually a good thing, right? Because
Absolutely, you can't
denial
believe.
in everything is the worst thing, right? So the first
Absolutely,
good thing to do is realize that you have post-wedding blues, and then
yeah.
how should your family and friends and husband, wife deal with it?
Well, one thing that's really important is for the person experiencing it is, yes, to recognize that it's happening and that it's normal, and that you're not going crazy and that you're not spoiled because you're having this experience. The other thing is to, you know, in regards to your family and expecting them to fix it, kind of, it's a little bit hard for them. You kind of have to lean in on yourself a bit and, do things like, for instance, thinking about, changing your perspective, like I had said earlier, not look at it as the end of something, but the start of something. Spending time that you would have been doing, like meeting with vendors and picking cake. Maybe you just want to host some dinner parties at your house, right? Bring your social network, get your friends, involved in your life. You know, not, not falling into the trap of, this is the end, right? this is the beginning, and focusing in on spending time with your spouse, going on dates, having special little things together, right? And doing normal things that you would do for anybody that is having depression or anxiety. You would, exercise, make sure you're eating right, make sure that you meditate a little bit, calm your body down. Those normal self-care things are important to do for everybody, but particularly when you're having a difficult time. The other thing that's really interesting is that people who live together, right, before they get married, there is this expectation that some magical transformation will happen on your wedding day, and really that's not the case. Really what happens is they're the same person that you woke up with in the morning, that you went to bed with at night, the
They
night of
have
your wedding.
bad breath in the morning, just like
Exactly.
every
And
time.
in those cases, it's important to remember why you chose that person. Why are you marrying that person? Why did I marry that person? And that their little habits and, shall we say, quirky annoyances are not going to go away on the wedding day. They are still
Exactly.
the same person, right? The other thing is really important is that the first year of marriage is a huge transition. So that first year is really hard. And you're incorporating, people into your lives. You got new in-laws, and you got this, and you got that coming, at you. New expectations about how you're going to spend the holidays, and how you're going to do this, and how much time you're going to do that. So those things can add to it, because you're like planning for this really fun event, and then there's nothing fun really. There's a lot of compromise that happens, and focusing in on the positive things that you have coming forward in a marriage is really important. So whether it or not it's getting your financial house in order, figuring out how you want to plan for a family, those are really big questions for the future that are sometimes difficult to kind of start working on with each other.
But thank you so much for your cooperation. I don't know if there are any last words you'd like to give to our readers and to all the ladies who are watching you right now about this subject.
I mean, I think it's really important to focus on your marriage and the vows that you said to each other, and put those words into action as your new plan, your new thing to, celebrate, and those things, and to keep, growing your social network. Stay connected to your friends and family, do fun things with each other as a couple, and host dinner parties. That could be your new wedding, right?
Yeah, yeah.